Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, they do all the blood work and then you have to go back 3 weeks later. and Get the,
Most of it they do on site, but some of it has to get sent out. But most of it is done by the time I meet with the doctor and they review everything. But so far everything's okay.
Great, good. That's great news. So, you go to the special thing why you wear the aura ring, right? There,
Uh,
you
well,
go to
that's
the,
not why, but yeah, it does connect to them. But yeah, that's
I
not
mean,
why.
you go to this special clinic where you step into a machine and it takes all your vitals, right? Or something.
Yeah. Are we recording?
Yeah, no, I just thought it was interesting that what's the name of the clinic again?
Forward.
Forward. Okay, they're downtown, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Well, what have you got to talk about?
I don't know. It was a nice weekend.
Yeah, beautiful
I thought.
weekend.
We've had really good weather. It was supposed to heat up this week, but I think considering we're near the end of July, it's been a pretty nice summer again.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
it seems that global warming has been pretty kind to Chicago compared to a lot of other places in the country.
Yeah,
Uh,
my brother lives out in Central Oregon, Bend, Oregon, and they've been having really hot weather, but they're a high desert, so it's not humid there, but still it's been in the 90s and it
yeah,
gets, it gets cool at night, but yeah.
seems like most other places in the country have had more and more extreme weather, and our seasons seem to have flattened out. You know,
I know,
our
right?
for the
Yeah.
most part, our winters are a little milder, and the summers are a little, cooler, and yeah, it's just kind of all kind of flattened out in a good way. We still have our seasons, but they're not as
We
you know
have
ranges as wild.
we have what England had before climate change. We have English weather.
I don't know about that. We still get winter.
Yeah, well,
They,
but
they
no,
get what they think is winter.
but that's what I'm saying. They rarely, well, I don't know now with climate change, but they traditionally never rarely got below freezing.
Yeah,
Which is why, of course, they have such beautiful gardens,
but
because
we still get way below freezing. We just don't get long runs of blizzards and long runs of sub-zero weather, and it might dip down there every now and then, but kind of comes back up. And
but I think
just
that last winter we rarely got below freezing. There was hard. In fact, they've
being below
instituted.
zero.
What's that?
You mean below zero
No,
or below
below
freezing?
freezing.
Oh, I don't know about
There
that.
wasn't. I mean, in fact, they've instituted a study on the lake, the impact of the lack of ice on the lake because there's been so little ice on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, but it has to get way below freezing for the lake to freeze. At 31 degrees or whatever, the lake's not frozen.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, that we haven't had we haven't had enough cold, long enough and cold enough weather for the
Yeah.
lake to freeze.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever bothered to study it before because they just never really thought about it. But now with climate change, they're wondering what kind of an impact it's going to have on the environment. There's probably some sort of algae or who the hell knows, right? Fish or something that needs to have a certain stretch of sub freezing weather in order to go through its changes or whatever it needs to do, hibernate or whatever. But that's the point. Nobody really knows. That's why they're starting to study it now. So anyway.
Yeah.
So speaking of the lake and wildlife and fish, etc., next week I'm going to be in Monterey. I'm hoping, I have to find out from Debbie what the itinerary is, but we're going to spend a couple of days in Monterey, and they have a world famous aquarium in Monterey, which I've been through Monterey a couple times. I've never had the time to go to the aquarium because I think you need like at least a half a day to really do it any kind of justice at all. And my brother that lives in Oregon, he they were there and they spent a day, and then they decided to extend their trip, and they went back and spent a second day at the aquarium. But that's his thing. He's a wow.
Aquarium manure.
No. He's retired now, but he has a doctorate in limnology, which is the study of freshwater systems. So he knows all about fish and algae and and all that stuff. It's like being an oceanographer, but for freshwater rather than saltwater. So he's very involved with the environment, and like he worked for the Army Corps of Engineers. And so, for instance, if they're going to build a bridge or a dam or something like that, they would bring David in to monitor, to consult on what the environmental impact of that would be.
Mhm.
Because the Army Corps of Engineers is the one that builds all that stuff for communities. So
Yeah.
they're doing, the Army Corps of Engineers right now is actually doing like I think it's like a 3-year study or something about the lakefront here because of the erosion along our shoreline here in Chicago. So yeah, they do all kinds of cool stuff like that.
Yeah. Now I grew up next door to my aunt and uncle, and my uncle was in Corps, so I was
What did he do for him?
Well, I don't know. He
Bridges?
was an engineer. He got sent around it. I told you before, he worked at the Panama Canal for a while. That's when we met that family from Panama that like his like Panamanian kind of compatriot or whatever that had kind of the same position he did or whatever down in Panama. Like they used to come visit us. We got to be real close with them, but yeah, then he would get sent around, when there was tornadoes or, other, disasters where they had to, or the Corps had to go in and assess and build or do whatever. Yeah, he was
a civil engineer.
He was an engineer. I don't know what type. But yeah, but
what year was he down in the canal zone?
Actually, our family friends who lived behind us that we all bought land out there together, he was in the Corps too. So yeah, I had that around me all the time. But yeah.
Huh. What year was your uncle in the canal zone?
I don't know, in the 70s when I was a kid.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. He would get sent down there for months at a time and then be back and then get for several years.
Next door neighbor of our first house that we bought back in the 80s, our next door neighbor was a civil engineer, and he and his wife, it's just they didn't have any kids. It was just him and his wife, and he was a civil engineer and went to I want to say I think it was Peru. They went to Peru. And he was gone a couple of years and to build a bridge, and in that interim they rented out their house, and then they came back, and of course the tenant moved out, and they had to put their house back together because the tenant, well, she was a fuss budget, but but the tenant, had abused it like tenants do. And so they had to basically put their house back together again when they got back. But he had an original Volkswagen Beetle, the little Volkswagen Beetles from the 60s. Yeah. And now this is so typical engineer, right? He would take it out on Sundays for a drive. Otherwise it stayed in the garage. And when he took it out, he would park, like if you go to a shopping mall, he'd park on the far corner of the mall so that nobody would like accidentally ding it. And about once or twice a year, he would take it out to the alley, pull it out of the garage. He would take the whole thing apart and clean it and oil it and do the number on that thing. That thing was like in mint condition.
Yeah. My uncle was like that. He actually built like campers and trailers and stuff in the garage. And he had bought a van that he cut the whole back of it off from like the cabin all the way back, and then built a camper that sat on top of it. That like, the van became like an RV.
Right.
That he completely built from hand by hand in his garage and stuff. Yeah.
Well, Volkswagen
out
had
in it.
the Volkswagen made those buses that were like campers, that the roof
Yeah,
popped up and you could camp in them.
yeah. But
But
this
he
was
made his own. Did
like a
he?
big RV that got set down onto and fitted onto the van, but
Huh. Wow. Wow. I mean, how did he have the skill and ability to do that? I wonder.
he could do any of that stuff. He built a lot of things, and he built, go-karts, and he used to, when I was younger, he raced in those crash up derbies.
Oh,
Do you remember?
now this is your uncle, the civil engineer you're talking.
Yeah. And so he would make the cars and build the cars and everything that they raced in, all of those and stuff. And then he built like motorcycles for my nephew and stuff, like.
I guess the moral of the story is that civil engineers build things.
Yes.
It should be like
he built a lot of things and kind of still does. Yeah. But yeah,
it should be their bumper sticker. If you're a civil engineer, we need to make you a bumper sticker, and it should have a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge and civil engineers. We build things. I don't know. Anyway.
I remember when those Volkswagen Beetles were so common, though, that we would always play Ladybug, which was when we were driving around a lot, going to swim meets when I was a kid. So we were on the road all the time, and we would be playing Ladybug. Whenever you spotted one, you had to claim Ladybug, and it got added to your count.
I see.
I mean, we would get to where we were going, and it'd be like 220 to 190 or whatever,
Wow.
score, because you would just see them everywhere.
They were a great car. They were affordable and durable. I mean, they were better in Oklahoma, I suspect, than they were in Chicago, because the heat did not work. Go figure, a German car, the heat didn't work. My very first car was actually a Volkswagen Beetle, and
mine was a Volkswagen Scirocco.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Yeah, no, it was a Beetle. And what was so great about it is, of course, I was young then and attractive. And if I got stuck in a snowbank, of which we used to have plenty of back in those days, all I have to do is get a couple of guys to come and lift my car up out of the snowbank, and I'd be on my merry little way.
When I was, that reminds me, when I was in college, at the fraternity, we were in the fraternity house, and people got drunk one night and went and took one of our members' cars. He had a yellow Bug, but a group went out and got it off the street and took it up into the house and put it in the middle of the living room. Put all the sofas and everything back, move the coffee table, put it in the middle, put the plant that was on the coffee table up on top of it, and just had it sitting in the middle of the living.
This sounds like such a frat party thing to do.
So when he got up in the morning, came down, his car was sitting in the living room with a plant on top of it.
And did anybody help him get it out so he could get to class?
I don't even remember what happened with that, but I wasn't part of the group. That I was part of the ones that just came downstairs like, what the hell happened? Yeah.
We were out for dinner the other night, and this guy had a t-shirt on talking about what the heck, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, WTF. Carl said when he was in New
that's a movie too.
What's that?
The movie too.
Is there a movie, Wisco Tangy? Okay. Carl said that when he was a nuke power down in Charleston, when he was in submarines, his one of his professors, it was thermo. What did he say? Thermodynamic. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But so one of his professors, he said, if you see WTF back on your paper, it's like, where's this from? On your answer, where is this from?
Not sure about that.
I know, right? Where'd you get this answer from?
Did I show you the card that Musa sent me? It's sitting here on the.
Oh no, here, back it up a little. Oh, how cute. And there's her QR code is on that's very cute. She knows you're a dog person, right?
She didn't know. She just
No.
guessed, I
I
guess.
mean, who isn't a dog person, right? Is her QR code, didn't you say her QR code was on the back?
No, that was on the envelope,
Oh, it's on the envelope.
but yeah, Christine got one, and Christine in New York got one, and it was I think it was a cat.
Oh, okay. Huh, I
Said,
wonder
did you
where
get
she
this little
got it.
dog? She said, no, hers was like a cat or something. So
Huh. They had an article in the paper over the weekend. There's a place called over on Clark Street in Lakeview. It's called I think it's called the Cozy Bunny or something like that. Anyway, they
something tells me that you're way off on that.
no, I'm not way off
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
I'm not way off on that.
It
Anyway,
just sounded like one of those things.
they sell they have rabbits
Like the
and
drunken frog or something.
I was going to say the bunny hutch, but I know it's not that. But they board rabbits. So if you have a pet rabbit and you're going to go away, they'll board it. And
Mhm.
you know, they have all kinds of rabbit stuff. But
I had rabbits when I was a kid. Yeah.
yeah, the Cozy Bunny. It's Cozy Bunny. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That isn't it. Cuddle Bunny? Yeah, Cuddle Bunny.
Okay.
2901 Clark Street. See? Yeah, it's called the Cuddle Bunny. And you can board them and you can go like a cat cafe, you know, where you can go and play with the cats. Well, they have rabbits. You can go and you can play with the rabbits. But anyway, the point being, here's one now. I don't know if rabbits make very good pets, but my sister-in-law had one for a while and it chewed up all of her woodwork.
Mhm.
But anyway, the reason they had the article in the paper about the Cuddle Bunny. See, I wasn't far off. You're making fun of me. Is because apparently there's some kind of virus or something that's going around, and it's fatal to rabbits. And they've had a couple of their bunnies die on them because of this, whatever it is. So
Hmm.
I guess it's kind of an epidemic that they're having.
Hmm.
So if you have a pet bunny, be careful. You have to. This woman who had taken her bunny there to be boarded, he has to quarantine him now because he was exposed to it. But I guess he's okay. Anyway, I don't know. I wonder where Musa got the cards from. Did she have them made up?
No, I don't think so. They're just, it's just cards. Yeah.
Yeah, really cute.
Sure was a packet of them.
Well, next week, I don't know. I mean, are we gonna do this next week? I'm gonna be in Monterey. I don't think we're gonna do this next week.
Oh, well, let's skip next week while you're gone then. You need to,
Now, when are
focus on that.
you going? You're going somewhere too, aren't you, soon?
Nope. I'm here forever.
No, you said you were going to Mexico and stuff.
But that's not till late October.
Hmm. Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, if anybody has any San Francisco hotspots I should go to Saturday night, let me know that I need a reservation for. My brother told me about a seafood restaurant in Monterey that I need a reservation for. So I've got Monday night covered, but we'll be down. We're coming in on Saturday. We're going to spend Saturday night and most of the day on Sunday in San Francisco. Then we're going
You're gonna go to the Compass office there?
I wasn't planning on it.
Mm.
Should I?
Mhm. Sure.
You think anybody will be in the office to say hello to?
Yeah.
Maybe if I reach out and let them know I'm going to be in town. No, I wasn't going to make it a working vacation. I was going to just go on holiday and see the sights and kind of do San Francisco a little bit, then drive down to Monterey Sunday evening because our thing is on Monday and Tuesday. And I'm hoping maybe I can play hooky and go to the aquarium in Monterey.
Yeah.
So But
All right,
I'll
well,
have
have
to
a great
report
time.
back on that. So anyway, everybody have a good week, and we won't see you next week. We'll see you the week after.
Look out for sick rabbits.
Yep, exactly. Okay, bye for
All
now.
right. Bye.